For Mississippi State, hey, Dad, it was an electric game. I know that State came out on the losing side of it. So I'll just kind of tee it up. Mississippi State loses 88-84 in a really, I mean, it was a great basketball game, but Mississippi State being on the unfortunate side of that.
Yeah, and their old nemesis cropped up again, their inability to defend from the perimeter. Alabama with 15 made threes in this game, 7 of them by a player, Chris Youngblood, who, has been battling some injuries, a quality player, but he had hit 18 threes on the season coming into this game. He goes 7 for 10 last night, and that's the difference in the game, is a guy that you probably would not have had circled on the game plan having a career game against you. State didn't have the balance in scoring they've had. Now, they didn't really need it as much because Josh Hubbard finally decided to show up and put on the Superman cape. He had 38 last night, a monster game for him. Great game from Keyshawn Murphy at 18 points, but of course people are going to point to the fact that he missed a layup attempt as time was winding down that would have given State the lead with about 10 seconds to go. Obviously people are like, why didn't he dunk it? We were talking about Morrell just a second ago. That's not a health issue. He just he just made the wrong decision there. Nobody else in double figures for State, and I don't think they can win games like that. That's sort of how they played last year, right? Where you'd have Hubbard in double figures and Tolu would be in double figures, and that was about it. And so everything was a rock fight. State has too much talent to not have more than 2 guys in double figures. Riley Kugel only took 3 shots. That's just not going to work. They need him to be more aggressive. R.J. Melendez rolled his ankle early in the game, was able to come back in, but really wasn't able to give them much offensively. Cam Matthews only has 4 points. Now, he played much better than he did on Saturday, but as a scoring threat, just not a lot there. State needed somebody else to step up and give Hubbard and Murphy a third guy there, and they just didn't have them. But despite all that, State had plenty of opportunities in the final moments to get a win against Alabama. Alabama just outplayed them in that situation and gets the win. Good game, good atmosphere, obviously, great energy, and a lot of fun to watch for the unbiased observer. But that being said, most of the people who listen to this program probably don't fall under that description, so they're either hurting or happy today.
So, Josh Hubbard, let's start with the good from last night. It was about time to see Josh Hubbard play like the Josh Hubbard everybody knows Josh Hubbard can be. ... Josh Hubbard, Josh Hubbard, Josh Hubbard. How many times can I say that in a segment? But that was him.
Yeah.
That was what, and you don't expect over 50% from 3 every night, but that was him.
More aggressive, went to the rack a few times, and that got his confidence going. We talked about that the other day, about just seeing the ball go in and getting some easier looks that can turn into more difficult looks. Once he started making some of those layups, and he took advantage of some mismatches and was able to get to the rim, then the three-pointer started to fall for him a little bit. And like I said, a career game. What a weird coincidence for Mississippi State, by the way. Both games this week, men's and women's, their star player has had a career night. Career high for Hubbard, 38 on Wednesday. Career high for Jakaela Jordan on Monday against Missouri. She had 40, both in a loss. What are the odds of that? It's just crazy. People are going to say that Hubbard's back. Obviously, I'd like to see 2 games in a row of playing like that. And he doesn't have to get 38 on Saturday. But can he have another quality shooting game and be 20-plus points? That would be huge for Mississippi State. They're going to play a Missouri team on Saturday that's a very good three-point shooting team as it is. They don't really need the help.
They've got a group of guys that can really fill it up.
They can hit. So, State's perimeter defense, that's a little bit nerve-wracking for the Bulldogs.
Why is that? Why are they, frankly, bad at defending the three-point line?
They are so aggressive with double teams at times and trying to trap that they give up open looks. And I feel like if State just played man defense a little bit more, and look, I'm not trying to tell Chris Jans what to do because he knows a lot more about it than I do. But at the same time, it just feels like if they just played their man and didn't give as much help at times, they might be a little bit more successful because they trap, they don't get the steal, and then there's a kick out to an open guy. And that's been the case basically all year for State. But at the same time, there's a bit of serendipity is not the right word because it's good. It's not good for Mississippi State, but Jackson Robinson came into the game against Mississippi State shooting 29% from 3. He hit 7 from 11 from behind the arc in that game. And then you have Youngblood last night, 18 of 60 coming into the game from 3-point range. Goes 7 of 10. So, that's, if it happens once, you're like, that's just a freak accident. When it happens more than once, and it happened. I mean, look at Chaz Lanier, who's a great shooter, but look how he played against Mississippi State. State has just got to find a way to tighten up that perimeter defense. They're fine inside. It's tough to drive on Keyshawn and Nwoko with Cam down there, and you've got such good guards in terms of length and athleticism with Kugel and Melendez and Harris, but they are just a sieve on the perimeter, and teams are going to be able to hit three-pointers against them, and they got to fix that because there's teams in this conference that can shoot, and if you want to keep winning games, you got to find a way to slow those teams down.
Jim says State took notes from Ole Miss's throw-it-away game versus A&M last night. So let's talk about that final stretch. I mean, State really had an opportunity to win the game, blew a layup, just couldn't do it. What happened there?
I mean, just as simple as that. State missed a couple of open looks. They have a turnover, and just, I mean, it starts with missing the layup. If that goes in, you're up one. Now, Bama is more than capable of coming down with less than 10 seconds and hitting a game winner and winning the game that way. And that loss wouldn't have been any less painful for Mississippi State. But they have that. They get a couple of missed free throws, but they give up an offensive rebound. Then that next guy hits a couple of free throws. Now you're down 3. They try to run a play similar to the play they ran last year against Kentucky where Hubbard hit that tying three-pointer. And another game sort of similar to that where State wasn't able to get the win at the end. But in this instance, the pass gets away from Hubbard and he turns it over, and it just kind of goes from there. So, there's a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda in those last 10 seconds of the game for Mississippi State. At the end of it, though, because a lot of people want to blame Jans, and that's fine. He's the head coach. He can wear some blame. But I think, you got to look at, you had a wide open layup to take the lead with 10 seconds left. There's just not a whole lot more you can do in that situation than put your guys in that position. Murphy's just got to make that shot. Now, Jan said when he got back into the locker room, first thing he said to Keyshawn Murphy's like, this was not on you. This is not your fault. And he's right. It's not. Everybody in that locker room had a play where if they had made it, Mississippi State wins the game. But in this instance, that one shot is what people are going to remember.